Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, and in this video, I want to give my commentary on Carlos King speaking about some people who have said, quote unquote, horrendous things about him and how he handles it. And before I get into my commentary, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video as well as subscribe to the channel. Now, this was a discussion amongst himself and his fellow hosts, Claudia Jordan and Dustin Ross, during his most recent Monday Night Live show on YouTube. They discussed BravoCon and the most recent episodes of The Real Housewives of Potomac, as well as Love and Marriage Huntsville. When they were discussing BravoCon and the absence of Nene Leakes, Carlos King was defending her. Now, before he did, of course, he brought her name up, and Claudia Jordan gave her opinion, and of course, Dustin did, and then Carlos defended her, and that's when he mentioned how there have been times where people have said horrendous things about him. So let's jump right on in and get into what the panel had to say.
Humble yourself, and you've got to get that spirit out of you where you look down on people, and people are not beneath you because you're famous. They're not.
And Nene knows how to take a note too. She knows how to listen to all this and take the note, because when she met Marlo in season 4, Nene started dressing better. Mm-hmm. So you can take a note from somebody. You know how to take a note, Nene.
I mean, look how amazing her hair has been ever since season 7 of Housewives. Her hair has been fucking flawless ever since that George Washington wig read happened. So I'd like to say I contribute to that. Sorry, Carlos. I know we make it a little difficult right now.
Oh, fine. Listen.
He's like, shut up.
No, you
guys. Listen. Shut up.
You guys.
I'm sick, so I have an excuse. I'm not myself. My brain is.
And I'm tired, so we sick and tired.
Okay, and I'm about to wake it up. So that's my contribution with that. I will say this. As somebody who was there the first day Nene filmed, okay. Mm-hmm. There's no instruction manual that one receives when they come from anonymity to a global sensation, right? I'm not here to make excuses for anybody. What I will say is I've seen worse things happen where other women are celebrated. I've seen other women who are still on these shows do something worse than she's ever done that are still working. I've seen other women of different races say worse things publicly and they're still working and back. What I will say is this. I'm not here to say shoulda, woulda, coulda. What I will say is when it comes to Nene Leakes, I don't think Nene Leakes has done anything worse than some people have done. I think for me, there's always room for grace if one has the opportunity to confront things head on, to say, let's have a real conversation, right? There's people who have said the worst things about me possible, right? I mean, the most horrendous shit about me, who I've given opportunities to. And the way I operate, I'm never going to clap back at anybody. And that also doesn't mean that I'm going to hold a grudge either. I'm somebody who understands that, look, I don't know what it's like to be a reality star. And the reason why I created Reality with the King is because I wanted to give reality stars the opportunity to be seen. And again, there's reality stars who do the craziest things, right? However, I always try to find room where grace is needed if they are at a place to offer that. Mm-hmm. And I really want to say that you have to be at a place to offer that. I think we've all said things that we wish we could take back.
For sure.
But you know what I mean? And I think.
Okay, so I want to talk about some things that he said and just kind of, give some reminders of, you may not have directly clapped back at people, but some things were done that clearly was an opportunity or an attempt, I should say, to, possibly kind of get people dragged. We're going to get there. First, I want to talk about how Carlos defends Nene by pointing out that other non-Black women have spoken out pretty much against Bravo and NBC Universal. He is right. Nene and Mariah Huck from Married to Medicine, they were not the only people to sue the network. Leah McSweeney, who is white, sued the network in early 2024, alleging a toxic and hostile work environment on The Real Housewives of New York City. And other women, other people who have worked on the network in various shows, they have spoken out as well. But Carlos, what fascinates me about him is that he will defend a Black woman over there, meaning defending Nene Leakes over on Bravo, but he lacked in protecting a Black woman over here, so to speak, meaning on his shows that his company, Kingdom Reign Entertainment, produces for the OWN network. And yes, in my opinion, he did not put in as many efforts to protect Melody Cherie. Now, I know that he cannot control grown people's behavior and how they choose to use very triggering, explosive, sensational words on reunion stages. But I feel like he could also, perhaps even facilitate trainings or talks with the co-stars to not be so heinous. My goodness. And we all know that Kenya Moore broke down about the type of releases that reality TV stars sign. And it does include where you realize that a narrative could be spun about you that is embellished or untrue altogether. But still, at a certain point, do you say, well, outside of that release that they sign, let me kind of do what's right because I wouldn't want this done to me? Any of those things. But let's go ahead and move on. So now, he also talked about people saying the worst, just quote unquote, horrendous things about him. In my opinion, he's referring to Winter Harris, former cast member of Love and Marriage DC, when she interviewed with the lovely Queen Sheba in regards to the work environment for that reality TV show. I'm sure he was also thinking about Monique Samuels, also a former cast member of his show Love and Marriage DC. And she did an interview with a podcaster several months ago. Maybe it's been about a year. I will also include the video of my reaction to that at the end of this video. And Monique Samuel, she talked about how she was approached by a reality TV show producer who said, the white networks do us any kind of way. I want to feature you. And she told the podcaster, I had a worse experience with the Black producer than I did the white one. Or he could have been thinking about Candy Burris Tucker, who told the amazing YouTuber House of Aaron, that she doesn't with Carlos. Because according to her, allegedly, he tried to produce an Escape biopic based upon her hit R&B group that she has been a member of since she was a teenager. And he was trying to produce the biopic without their knowledge, even trying to seduce her mom, Miss Mama Joyce, to do confessionals, but she wasn't clear that it was for a biopic that obviously Escape had nothing to do with. Allegedly, Carlos. He said that even after people say the worst things about him, that he is not interested in clapping back. And of course, I'm paraphrasing. But in my opinion, he may do other things to try and get other people to drag said person. And what I mean by that is that Carlos King on his YouTube channel, he interviewed Miss Lawrence. Do you remember Miss Lawrence, the hairstylist who would appear on The Real Housewives of Atlanta? He often filmed with Kenya Moore, and he also collaborated with Candy when she produced a song for him. And when Carlos King interviewed him several months ago, or it could be a year by now, he asked him about, why didn't you continue to work with Candy? And, Miss Lawrence talked about how there was a deal on the table for him to record a full album with Candy, but he did not like the terms of the record deal. And then Carlos King was asking follow-up questions. Pretty much, just in my opinion, Carlos, the way I interpreted your interview questions, he was trying to get Miss Lawrence to speak on whether or not he felt like Candy was giving him like a bum record deal or almost like, just to her benefit. And Miss Lawrence said, "Well, I don't think she was trying to take advantage of me or play me. It just was terms that I just didn't like." And I will say a quick side note is that whenever I've watched profiles on TLC or Tony Braxton, acts that were signed with Babyface's label LaFace Records, Pebbles, she discovered TLC, she said that their new artist recording deal, that was a standard recording deal that all new artists get. Pebbles was pretty much saying, your very first record contract that you sign is going to suck because you're a new artist. So they call it a new artist deal. Not making excuses for any companies that sign their artists to shitty deals, knowing that they're screwing them. But I do want to mention that point that Pebbles made. Also, Carlos King interviewed Coco from SWV, the amazing R&B group, one of my faves, after they appeared on the reality TV show, The Queens of R&B with Xscape. If you watch that show on Bravo, then you know that SWV and Xscape were at odds over who should headline for their tour, The Queens of R&B. And the lovely Mona Scott, who produces, or she used to produce Love and Hip Hop. She produced not only the TV show Queens of R&B, but she also has a management company, and she was the tour manager for their tour. Very smart woman. But anyway, Carlos King interviewed Coco, and he kept asking her questions about, Xscape and Candy and them wanting to be headliners. And Coco really, she didn't drag any of them from Xscape. She didn't say anything explosive. And what do we all know that later happened? They went on tour together last summer. I went to the tour. It was amazing. I had a ball. But during those interviews, I was thinking to myself, I think he's trying to get them to drag Candy. So yeah, you maybe don't clap back. You may not go on Twitter or the Neighborhood Talk or your Instagram and say anything salacious, but there have been times where you definitely tried to get others to do the dragging, if you will. But what did you all think about what Carlos King had to say about people saying the worst things about him after defending Nene? And I always wonder, how can people, how can they reconcile being so empathetic to some people and then they turn it off for others? That is very weird work to me. Weird work and weird behavior. But we see it. You may have experienced it yourself. I have before. People, they can be a total just asshole to you. And then they can be so kind, patient, good listener, not a bully to others. It's really weird. I think that the person that they're mistreating, they're trying to get them to think that there's something wrong with them or they're unlovable when they switch up the behavior. Not saying that Carlos was trying to do that to Melody, but I'm speaking in general. But I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video as well as subscribe to the channel. I hope that you all had a magnificent Monday. I hope that it was not a manic Monday. My day for the most part was good. I felt like work got hectic in my last hour and a half, but thank goodness it was at the last hour and a half. And I am saying that we're all going to have a terrific Tuesday, and Tuesday is going to be even better than today. And yes, just enjoy the fall. If you've been checking out my shorts, then you know that I went to the cider mill and I got lots of visuals and I shared those. And this is just that time. The cider mills, they're seasonal. They're just open from late summer up until Thanksgiving, so they will be closing soon. But like the summer always comes back, the fall always comes back, and then the cider mills will reopen. But definitely, if you live near pumpkin patches, apple orchards, or cider mills, definitely check them out while you can. It's very calming and a great time. And I will talk with you all soon. Bye.